Hello, happy Friday. I hope wherever you are that you and your loved ones are safe and well, that you're having a good week and a good day. This week has been a bit chaotic, but good. I had to reschedule a couple of things that I didn't want to reschedule, but I figured I would be better suited to do them when I had a little more bandwidth for them. But what I really wanted to talk to you about was, you can't really see it now, thank goodness it's healing, that this week in Becky's head injuries. Before I tell you how I did it, I'm going to play a little game with you and give you a little multiple choice. Did I, A, take a header down a flight of stairs and land like a bowling ball into a solid wooden door, giving myself a concussion and bruised ribs? B, did I have a depth perception issue and slam my head into a porcelain sink? C, did I same depth perception issue with a kitchen table? D, walk into a tree? Or E, all of the above? Okay. Da 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 da. If you guessed A, you would be wrong this week. I did that back in 2017, 2018, I think, right before Christmas. We were living in the old apartment and we had like it was two big flights of stairs, one outside the house, one inside the house. We were on the top floor and the doorbell rang. We were expecting a delivery. And so I went down those stairs in about 3 seconds and I landed top of my head. I felt the vertebrae in my neck audibly crack. I'm lucky I didn't break my neck. Seriously. I landed head first against the door. I did knock myself out and I ended up having to get a CAT scan and it was terrible. And then my ribs, so painful. I mean, if you ever have broken ribs or bruised ribs, you know how painful that is to do pretty much anything. And so that healing was not fun for that. But anyway, so no, thank God I didn't do that again. B and C, I do them pretty often. I'm lucky I don't. And I think, I don't know if I told you this little scar, which is hard to see in this light. I did this when I was a kid. I almost forgot about this. I ran out of our living room and, you know, I was chasing my sisters and I tripped into a radiator, which was thankfully not hot because I think it was summertime. Split my head open. So I call it my Frankenstein scar. And so this part of my head has taken quite a few blows. Maybe that's why I have migraines on this side. I didn't even think about that till just this second. I'm going to test that theory with my doctors and they're going to tell me no. And I'm going to be like, maybe. But anyway, if you guessed the tree, you would be correct. I was with my little buddy in the park this week and a couple of things happened before me slamming and almost clotheslining myself with a tree. We were walking along a long path and they're doing some construction in the park. Now, my little buddy does not like trucks. He does not like delivery trucks. He does not like dollies that people take off of delivery trucks with packages on them. For some reason, he feels like he has to bark and challenge the dolly and the driver. He doesn't love, he gets anxious, you know what I mean? And he's amazing, but he's very protective. And so he wants to know what it all is. And so there were 5 trucks coming along this path from the Parks Department because they were bringing supplies in and out of the park. And there are these little breaks in the path with benches on them. So I saw the trucks coming and I figured, oh, geez, I'm stuck because I couldn't go back. We were too far along. So I just pulled him into one of these little cropped out areas. When I tell you that he pulled an "I believe I can fly," I have never seen him jump that high ever. And I was filming him. I was making a video for my sister and because we were using a new leash and I wanted to show her, you know, what we were doing. And the footage is not of him jumping. The footage is of my phone, like falling all over the place. And he leaped up. I pulled him back. I was like, what are you doing? He landed in a bench. I thought he got hurt. It was terrible because I was like, what are you doing? And then he stood there, he challenged the truck and he's barking at the trucks. The driver of the first truck was like, I was like, I don't know. barking, barking, barking. All the trucks go by. So he's looking at me like, I have to protect you from these trucks. And he's you know, all like making a stance. And I was like, okay. So then we get on the path and a car backfires 3 times. He flattened himself to the ground like we were under attack. And I felt so badly because he's looking up at me like, what is this hellscape? So I was like, let's go to the field. So we walked down to the field and we were using this new extending leash, which we've never used before. And so I'm still getting the hang of it. And every time I let him off to get a little bit further ahead of me, he would come back and stand next to me like, why are we not near each other? It was so sad. So he's not used to it yet. But we were walking under these trees and we're near these trees. And so he like kind of dove and there was a hole in the ground. And I didn't want him to fall in. I didn't know how deep it was. It wasn't deep at all. But I couldn't see that. So I bent down to like kind of pull him back and make sure he was okay. And when I stood up and walked, I slammed into this tree branch that was like that. Like that. And then it kind of bounced and tapped my head again. And I was so stunned. I did not knock myself out. But I was so stunned that I yelled out, seriously? And he looked up at me like, what? What now? And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm lucky I didn't knock myself out. It scared me, I'll be honest. And I could feel that I had a cut, for sure. I had a hat on, but I could feel like, I knew I was cut. And so I came home with him. I got him settled. I went back to my house and put ice on my head, which I'm not supposed to be doing, but sometimes you have to do it because I didn't want to have, I already had a little lump and I didn't want it to be worse. And so I wasn't even going to say anything to anybody this week, but I thought if I mention it here and they happen to see it, they're going to be like, why didn't you say anything? So then I had to tell everybody, in my family. My husband knew, obviously, but not a good situation. But yesterday I brought my little pal to my mom's apartment, and my sister has this little dog carrying bag. He doesn't do well in cars. He gets a little motion sick. And so I wasn't going to take him in a car anyway, but I was like, I'll take the bus if I have to. But I ended up taking the train because he does okay on the train, which I was praying to anybody in the universe that protects animals with motion sickness. Please, please, please let him be okay on the train. And so I'm standing with him in this little pack and I'm going like this. It's okay. It's okay. Every time he got a little like skittish and started to move. Because if we stayed in the station when we were moving, he was fine. If we stayed in the station too long, or the doors were opening and closing, or a lot of scuffle with people, and it wasn't it was busy, but it wasn't like the crowded time. So that was good. But he would get a little bit anxious and start to like try to paw out of the bag. And I was like, not happening on my watch. And so I would just kind of rock him. And I think there were people looking, and I had a mask on because I was on the subway. I had my sunglasses on because every time I leave the house now I wear my sunglasses. And people were just looking at me like, it's okay, sure. And I was talking to him, and then they would see his little head, which is, you know, like that big, peeking out of my bag. And so they were like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. So then by the time we got, like, we were 3 stops away from our stop, and he started to do the tells of maybe I'm going to throw up, maybe I'm not. And I was like, oh, please don't throw up. So I was like, let's go. We're okay. We're okay. We're okay. But we were okay, and he was fine. And, you know, I can't imagine how, my daughter pointed out, like, how loud does everything seem to a dog? You know, you're trying to hear everything. Your senses are on fire because you're like looking around and trying to smell everything and see what's going on. And they have, in that situation, there's no control. And so when we got to the street, we were both, he looked at me like, thank goodness. I was like, you, exactly. We got to my mom's. He was very happy to see my mom. And he's just very sweet. And I envy dog owners and pet owners because you guys get that magic every day. And I'm so glad I get to see him every day because I don't get to see all the other family dogs. And everybody else in my family has a dog except me and my mom. And so getting to see any little dog and having that interaction is such a joy for me. It's been so good for my mental health, like for real. And what else? I saw my doctor on Wednesday, let him see my head, because that happened on Tuesday. Yes, it happened on Tuesday. And so he was like, did you lose consciousness? I was like, no, thank goodness. I said, I just was kind of stunned. I felt like, I can't even describe it. The pain was so, it was like as if I got punched in the head, honestly. That's what it felt like. And so he was like, I think you're okay because you didn't actively bleed. I said, no, I just had a scrape. And the swelling wasn't bad at that point. And I had a lump, but he was like, I think you're going to be okay. He said, just, you know, if anything changes, let me know. So I was like, okay. So then, but I met this wonderful nurse that I wanted to tell you about. We were talking about weight gain because she asked me what my weight was, and I was like, let's not discuss it. And I told her about how I had lost the weight, you know, pre-stroke, then had the stroke and gained it a lot back, and I'm trying to lose it, but I'm not actively working to lose it. I'm just like, why aren't I losing weight? But I'm not doing a lot to gain a lot, but it's hard, and especially when you get older, and it, you know, it's hard for women to lose weight, but it's hard for anybody to lose weight. So she said, and she was much younger than me, but she said that she had her baby right before the pandemic, and she, at her 6-week checkup, had lost 30 pounds, and she was so proud of herself. She was so happy. But then lockdown went into full effect, and she said that she gained a lot back, and she was really upset about that. But she said that most days she leaves work, comes home, gives her baby a bath. You know, her little girl's like 3 or 4, I think she said 4. And she said she feeds her daughter, puts her to bed, gets her stuff ready for the next day, and goes to bed because she has to be at work at 5:30 in the morning. And sometimes she doesn't even eat dinner. She said, I'm just so tired by the end of the day that I don't even eat. She said, or maybe I'll make a sandwich. And she said, and then I wake up hungry in the middle of the night, and I'm like, do I get up? Do I get? So I looked at her, I was like, okay, they tell you if there's ever an emergency on a plane to put your own oxygen mask on first. I know I've said this in videos, I've said it in blogs, because if you put your own on first and you're able to get yours on fast, you can help other people get their masks on. So I said to her, you are a superhero, because what you're doing, that's an insane day to have, and to not even be able to take care of yourself properly. And she said, oh, thank you for saying that. I said, no, seriously. I want each of you, whoever's watching this, if anybody watches this, to take a couple of minutes to prioritize yourself this week, to take care of yourself. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. We do better when to help other people and to extend ourselves to jobs, to kids, to whatever, when we take care of ourselves. Because if we're dragging and we're supposed to be doing something for other people, it's not going to go as well as we want it to. So I want you to make sure, put your own oxygen mask on first, then help other people, and it's going to make a difference. Take care of yourselves. I was blown away by her story, and she was so sweet and so lovely. And she said, you know, how long have you been a patient here? I said, 20 years. And she said, I said, or thereabout. And she said, oh, wow, I've only worked here for a year. I've never met her. Maybe I've seen her in the office, but I've never interacted with her before. She was lovely. And I hope there are days that she gets to really take care of herself. And, you know, it's hard being a mom of a young child and everything, but that's important. Her daughter will do better, you know, and have a better day if mom is taking care of herself, because then she can really help her daughter and take care of her daughter. But anyway, take care of yourselves and watch out for your heads. But anyway, I hope wherever you are that you have a low pain, no pain, low aggravation, no aggravation kind of a day, kind of a week, kind of a weekend to come. That's what we hope for. That's what we deserve. That is what I truly wish for each and every one of you. Did I say deserve correctly? Anyway, that's what I want. Take care. Have a good afternoon. The blog will be up this weekend, and happy Friday.